Surprise! Welcome back to Smashing Heads podcast. My name is Hannah, and I'm the host of this podcast. And the other 2/3 of this, I'm joined by my husband, Zach.
Hello.
And we are not joined by our best friend, Jake. He's out of town running a Spartan race, gladiator race, whatever they're called.
I don't remember. It's something where you run through the mud and up walls and things like that. His cousin lives down there, so they're going to go do that together. But it worked out to where he was going to be out of pocket, and we couldn't record Wednesday night just for some work reasons and things like that. So we are recording this today, and I believe this is a first. I don't think...
You have never let me open the show, and I've tried on so many occasions, and you always get mad and start over. And this time I talked you into it.
Let's be perfectly clear. That's not what normally happens. Is we're starting to record, and then right when I'm about to open the show, you jump in and throw the rhythm of everything off. So then we stop and restart.
I watch you to see when you take your breath to start, and that's when I take a loud breath.
Yeah. So, Jake's not here. We do have his fantasy points, so we'll do that at the end. We're just going to be going through. It's only an hour-long episode again this week. A
little more to talk about this week.
It was just a lot of build-up last week.
Yeah,
so we do want to, before we get too far into it, make sure to follow us on social media at Smashing Heads on Twitter, at Smashing Heads Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And from there, patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast. We are going to be recording some more stuff specifically for Patreon. I actually have an idea for an episode that I haven't even talked to you and Jake about, but we'll hash out things like I'm planning a reversed redemption house.
What does that mean?
Where we ask all the questions and
our patrons,
and then have our patrons do like a survey, and then we read their overall answers for
kind of like 40% voted for this, and 60% voted for
that type of thing.
That's fun.
It's gonna be legwork on the front end to get all that together,
but it's different.
Yeah.
And I like doing different stuff. I like to mix it up. Change is something I thrive on.
I was about to say you were a big. Was it Obama that was his thing change, or was it just hope? I don't remember. It was 13 years ago at this point.
Also, every time you run, you have to do a different slogan.
You have to?
I think so. And I think his first four years was change, and then the second term was hope.
Okay, maybe that's it. Yeah, I don't remember. It was a long time ago at this point. But regardless of that,
I might have that wrong though.
It's fine.
It was a long time ago, and I was in middle school the first time he ran.
Were you?
I was in 8th grade when...
In 2008?
Yeah, I was in 8th grade when he was elected president for the first time.
Huh.
And you were in college?
I was in college. I was a freshman in college.
That's weird to think about.
But anyway,
this is an interesting dynamic, and it's going to be fun navigating.
We've recorded, we've had to start like interviews without Jake, but like the cook interview, for example, he had to jump in late.
But he's always been there.
He's still with us. He's not dead.
He's not dead, but like he's always like been present.
Yeah.
In spirit and in body.
And in truth. Yeah.
No, but like you and Jake have boys' night every now and then. And you and I have never done this alone, like totally alone.
I've not ever missed a show.
No, so this is a first. I don't know what to call it.
I don't know what to call it either, but we will have different music. We were trying to figure.
I picked out a new intro song.
Maybe we haven't fully decided on what the song is yet, because it's going to depend on time things. We're coming up on a time crunch now. Recording this because we've got somewhere else to be, but
it's just a crazy week.
Yeah.
So this is a first. We've got to coin like a title for this, and then next time Jake and I will murder you and bury you in the backyard, and then he and I will have of the podcast where
Well, then
it's just the two of us, and then it's going to be something different.
What's the
for
point
that.
of like coining a term for this then? If you've already admitted to premeditated murder,
You have to have a title for it. You
Well-
gotta have a name, something to call it. Like you guys have the Nipple Boys and Boys Night.
I don't remember what.
And then Jake and I will have a best friends night.
But that's not ever happened either. I've not missed a show.
Yeah, that's why we have to like X you and get you out of here.
Well,
And then he and I will take over, and it will. I can tell you now, if we ever get to do that, it will be absolute mass chaos. I know it will.
you guys won't talk about anything.
No, because
Yeah.
you've seen Jake and I sit in our kitchen and sit in my kitchen and talk, and it's chaos.
Well, I know. I've been there.
It's fun though. I love it.
It's like, oh, hey, we need to record, and Jake's like, oh, I'll be there in 20 minutes, and he's here like 40 minutes later, and then he comes in, and then instead of recording,
He wants to talk about stuff.
and then we don't record for another hour and a half.
We talk about everything under the sun because he and I both go on rabbit holes, rabbit trails. We go in rabbit holes, down rabbit trails, and we talk about everything.
Yeah.
And then it's like 3 hours later when we finally come in to the podcast room to record.
Yeah, I feel very much like if anyone listens to How Did This Get Made, I'm definitely Paul.
Can I be Jason Mantzoukas?
No, you'd be June and Jake would be Jason. But it's that dynamic. I don't greet you formally like he does, June. Like he hasn't
How are
seen
you
her.
doing?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I've been listening to that podcast for like 12 years now.
It's really good. If you guys are looking for podcasts,
I can recommend a
that's
bunch of
one
them.
to listen to.
Which, by the way, I completely forgot to do the recommendation at the end of the episode, so I'm going to have to think about it on the fly. And I don't know if Jake sent us that. He sent us his fantasy points, but I don't think he sent us his. He may have to do a makeup one next week.
That's on him if he didn't.
Well, let's get into this episode. It basically starts off where last week left off.
In the middle of fight.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to start an episode. The middle of a fight.
So it starts, and it's like Josh decides to start singing at the beginning, and he's making up a song about Fessy, about how he's never won.
And he's not going to because he's going home.
Yeah.
He jumps up on the couch and yells, which I think, if you're ever getting into it with somebody and you really want to physically make yourself the bigger person and become the superior winner of the fight, you jump on a couch or on a table and you yell at them from above. And then you just automatically win, and the other person has to admit defeat.
Yeah, that didn't happen though. So
No. Did you notice it took 4 security guards to keep Josh away?
I mean, Josh
He's
is
a big guy.
Yeah, he's I'd guess 6'2" or something, but he's probably 230 pounds, something like that. And Fessy's 6'4", 6'5", and probably about the same. And those are not small guys. And they had to get between them. Fessy pushes Josh. We saw all that in the trailer. We knew that was coming.
In the middle of this, we get Esther and Amber talking.
Yeah.
This is after the drink is thrown. I think Esther realized probably shouldn't have done that. And so Esther was apologizing to Amber for it. She's like, that's not like me. I never should have done that. No matter what you do or what you say.
But also we saw her
throwing a drink on you is always uncalled for. And Amber's like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And so they hugged it out. And so I thought, oh, she threw the drink on her, immediately realized it was wrong, apologized, nipped it in the bud, and we're done. Everything's okay now. Apparently not.
No, so again, they still don't like Amber. Berna is very vocal. She doesn't like Amber after all this. I think probably Esther realized that you can maybe get in trouble for throwing drinks at someone. I did see, I don't remember if it's in our Slack group or somewhere, but somebody posted a screenshot from someone on Twitter saying the reason a lot of people don't like Amber is because after she got the drink thrown on her, she asked for the medics to come check her out because she said it was in her eyes. But it was wine. Apparently it was white wine, and it did
I thought
get
it was water.
No, it got in her eyes, And so Amanda jumped because Amanda just does not care about
anybody
or like possibly violating anything that they cut out. She got on and replied to that. She's like, "Oh yeah, that definitely happened," which they didn't show us. Which I wish they would have shown us something like that.
Yeah, that would have been fun to talk about.
Because that would have been maybe one thing that
we would understand why.
I guess
because I feel like, especially later on in this episode when we see Esther just flip off on Amber when Amber
she flipped off.
Yeah. Flipped out, whatever. Amber just told her well done, and she like totally lost it.
But that's been
like,
the theme.
I feel like we are. I know that we're getting an edited episode. They have to edit it to make it fit into an hour-long time slot. But I feel like we are, as viewers, are missing context as to why Esther and Berna basically hate Amber's guts.
Well, I mean, it's weird. I mean, they've talked about it in the Slack group with Patreon and all that stuff. Like, people are just like, I just don't like. From everything we've seen, there's nothing there. And Wes actually got on Twitter and he was like, it's because they're all jealous that she won. Like, that's all there is to it. And then apparently Banana said the same thing on his podcast, and they hadn't even talked to each other.
Really?
Yeah. And they're like, they're just jealous that Amber won and that she's coming in fresh off of a win. And she did stuff that most of them are never going to do. As
a rookie.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you got two of the biggest names in the show in Bananas and Wes who have no interest in this season as far as, like, they're not involved in it. Mm-hmm. And they both are saying that the cast is just jealous of Amber. And, again, from what we've seen, there's not... And she may be... There may be things said behind the scenes or under her breath or whatever, but... I don't think it's as bad as what some of these people are making it out to be, because if you get something like in your head to where you're like, oh, I don't like this person, then every little thing they say is going to rub you the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you're like looking at buying a car and you decide what car you want, then you start seeing that car everywhere out on the road because you're hyper aware that you've been
of that car.
Yeah. And so it's the same thing with Amber, is that people are like, oh, I don't like her. And they're like, oh, wait, can you believe she said this? And it's like, well, that wasn't really that much. But anyway, I think people are just going out of their way. But
I felt like we were missing something. Like, no, I've totally felt that way about Fessy. I feel like Fessy just had it out for Amber because he was mad that he wronged her and was almost partnered with her in the final, and then did what he could to make sure that they weren't partnered. And then... his partner got hurt.
Yeah. They
had to DQ or quit the final, and then she ended up winning. And
yeah.
I feel like he's just very butthurt about that and wants to take it out on her.
Well,
but I didn't get where the whole hate, especially from Berna, was coming from.
But Berna's, I wrote it later, like, she just almost becomes like a Disney villain. I told you that when we were watching it. Like, she reminds me of like the like evil like stepmothers in like Cinderella or something, like where she's just very displeased at everything and
always.
Yeah, like trying to like strong arm Emmy into not taking her partner. And
then like twisting the situation to make it seem like it was Emmy's wrongdoing.
It's straight up like I can't place what movie it was, but there's some Disney movie where like she just reminded me so, and I've liked Berna so far in this season.
I have too.
But we'll apparently again CT got sick of her because of the way she was acting, and
that tells me enough.
So Josh, in the middle of this blow up, goes around and starts telling everyone he wants the house vote to be Fessy and Esther, and then people are like, Esther, and he's like, well, Fessy, and then but anyway, that it's already out there, and he tells Casey that she has to pick right now on my family, like on his family's name and namesake and whatever else. Casey has to decide between him and Fessy.
Yeah, he said, pick right now, me or him.
Yeah, which...
And then he yelled at Amanda for being an instigator.
And Amanda didn't really do anything.
Yeah, and like Amanda told him, she's like, if you're going to be mad at anybody, don't be mad at me because I'm your real friend and I'm trying to help you here. Be mad at Tori and Corey because they're the ones that actually started this whole thing.
100%. They instigated this. And by the way, if you're Corey, you got one of the biggest threats in the game kicked out, and a guy who turned on you and Nelson last season.
Yes.
And you didn't even have to really do anything. It was funny. There was a meme going around. I posted it in our Slack group. It was in one of the challenge Facebook groups. But because Corey yells about Josh. He's like, you can't control your emotions. You can't be upset over pizza. And then it's like Corey about pasta, and then it showed like 3 seasons ago where he body slammed Tony Raines.
He like took him out.
Yeah, and it was because he threw his pasta out the window. And it's like, to be fair, it was crazy overreaction by Corey, but Josh overreacts to everything. But they were actively pushing Josh to like go after this. Like they're like, oh, come on, come check this out.
Pushing his buttons, knowing what it takes to set him off.
It doesn't take much. Like it's one of the easiest things in the house. And so from what we saw, Amanda didn't do anything. I just want to put that out there.
No, I didn't think that she did.
Yeah.
She like I fully thought that Amanda was one of Josh's like only legit friends that really had his back, because Casey and Fessy did not and would not.
No, they're 1A and 1B to each other, and then it's everyone else is below them.
Yes.
From there, Fessy goes up to the bedroom where Josh and Casey and Nany and all them are, and he does apologize, and then Josh just loses it. Like he starts crying, like big tears. And Josh is a crier. He's made that known. And then I think at that moment they kind of realized what had happened, like how far they had taken it. I don't think they knew either of them were going to be in trouble.
I mean, we talked about it, I guess, last week. TJ has been really serious about a lot of things this season.
But we also had the context of the trailer was like showed TJ's like, when I'm here, it's never good news. And so we're like, oh, something's going to happen.
Well, I mean, I think the apology from Fessy to Josh was Amanda's doing again.
Probably.
Because Amanda's been the one that has talked some sense into him. Like, hey, you should probably see things from Josh's perspective. Maybe you're wrong. You should go talk to him. You should apologize to him.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just interesting seeing Amanda in a new light.
She's a mom now.
Yeah, she is a mom. And so it's nice to see her like this as opposed to what we've seen her in previous seasons where it's just kind of like fighting or starting fights or getting in an argument.
Oh, I still think that's there.
I think it's still there, too.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see a new, like you're peeling back layers of an onion. You're seeing new sides of her. And like
more onion.
More onion.
Yeah.
It's more onion beneath. What bothered me about Fessy's apology to Josh was that he didn't really apologize very well, because he was basically just saying, sometimes we're just joking around and you take it the wrong way, and I'm like, that's not how you apologize to your friend.
I do think he was honestly trying to apologize.
I think so too. I think he just doesn't know how to apologize to people.
I mean, I don't remember I think it was the next day, and I may be kind of jumping ahead, but like, They talk about, I mean, I think a lot of this comes down to, it just seems like Fessy's whole life up to this point, he's been this like guy who is supposed to be this huge competitor, supposed to win, and apparently he's never won anything.
Yeah, he did mention that the next day, like he wanted to talk to Josh. This was before TJ came, and I think they knew it was coming, because Fessy talked to Josh and was, and Josh tells him that he needs to be more sensitive to how he feels, and Fessy's like, you know what, I do. And he opened up about how he feels like really pressured, and he's never won anything like Big Brother like Josh has, and he's never won in football when he was at Chattanooga. Yeah. And then he said something about American Ninja.
Yeah. That sounds vaguely familiar, that he was like on American Ninja Warrior and he never did much. And then also the challenge, obviously now Amber's won.
Yeah.
And that's someone who they thought was definitely a level below them. Mm-hmm. So I think that is partially where all this is coming from with Fessy, but
maybe that's why he went after CT so hard last season.
And that did not work at all.
Exactly. But he and CT, I see some similarities. Fessy being like a younger version of CT.
How dare you?
No, not in that way. I'm saying physically, for a long time, CT should have had wins early on.
Yeah.
But in his own detriment, he couldn't control himself.
And also, like, back in the day, like, it was really rare to have people on 3 seasons in a row. Like, that's just kind of become a staple now, to where we've seen these same people in our Psych group. Paul, which I don't think you've read this, he wrote an article for Medium talking about the way that the challenge is structured now, and like, there was hardly ever a time in the past where you had people go on 3 seasons in a row, because you would rotate, even in the heyday of Wes and Bananas, and when Bananas was winning, and when, you know, Johnny, Evan, Kenny, all those type, like, they would like do 1 or 2 and then be off for a season or 2 and then come
bring
back.
in the others.
And now it's like these people are making it. This is just all they do.
It's
now.
like their job.
Like this is 5th season in a row, and then you have like Casey, which is her 4th or 5th one in a row. Now Fessy, this is his 3rd one in a row. And I'm not specifically calling out the Big Brother people. It's just Tori, Corey, Nelson, all these people. It's that's what Paul's big point was. There's no excitement anymore with a lot of the casting with the returning people, because we've been watching them for the last 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So what was exciting about it in the past is, oh wow, I haven't seen Wes in 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Like I
can't wait to see Wes.
Or Kenny's back. He's been gone. Like, and so, or Laurel's back. Like, it's just like the same people over and over again.
Yeah.
Now, we had some really great rookie casting, but like Big T's 4th season. This is Nani's like 3rd or 4th season in a row. Like, it's just these people. This is just what they do now. And
so it's not as exciting to watch on TV, or when the cast is leaked or whatever, you read through it and you're like, oh, they're back. It's not as big of a deal. But you also have to look at it from the competitors' standpoint, because
CT
I think we've talked about it before. When you are like, you can see it on these people that have done several seasons in a row. You can look at them now versus their first season back or first season ever. The way that they behave, the way they interact with other people in the house, things that set them off. It's like when they enter into the challenge house, they're walking into this bubble where their whole world is just the game and politicking and competing and sneaking around, backstabbing, whatever. And that is such a warped sense of reality to physically live in 24/7 for an extended period of time. And then, they take a break between seasons, but it's not enough to decompress and come back to actual reality between seasons. So when they're doing back to back to back to back, they're not really having enough time to exit that bubble before returning to it. And so it's got to wear on you.
Oh yeah,
mentally.
I mean that's why we've in the past had some like breakdowns of people, and like there's been some awful ones. Like Tanya was one where she was just should not have ever been on the show at the time and during like the ruins and things like that. But it's CT's another one right after his brother died. Like should not have been around. It's just these people are just living in it, and like it's just their career now, and so. I would like to see. That's why All Stars is great, because we saw so many people we haven't seen in a long time, and it seems like the next All Star season is probably going to be even better casting and stuff.
I don't know anything about casting.
You know some of it. You may have forgotten it, but we talked about it.
Okay, well, I never want to know cast until right before the season airs, and we have to do a cast breakdown. I look at cast at the Cast Breakdown podcast. Yeah,
I know for a fact that. It may not have been recorded, but we talked to you about a couple of people because it was people that you for sure would want to see. But anyway, going back to this, Emmy wants Uncle CT as her partner.
Thank you, closed captioning that I made you turn on.
Yeah.
we couldn't figure out what she said.
Because someone talked over the end. But if we would have just waited, they kind of cleared it up like 2 scenes later. But then it showed Berna in like a secret room telling Emmy not to pick CT if she goes in and wins or whatever.
And here's the thing. Berna approached Emmy.
From what we saw.
Well, even either Berna or Emmy one said, I went to her, she came to me and asked me.
Berna's at the end, from what I remember, made it sound like Emmy came to her about it, and that's not what we saw. But anyway, she did that, but that's a whole nother thing. And then we had the whole hot sauce alliance where Emmy signed her name in Sriracha, and she's part of Devin, CT, and Kyle, and whoever else was in that room. And
in their alliance.
And so that's when Fessy talked about he never won anything, but we can skip over that. Because then TJ comes in, and it was a pretty big discussion in our Slack group that people were like, no way Fessy gets kicked off. And they're like, well, yeah, but, Melissa and Kayla got kicked off for pushing each other, in vendettas or whatever it was, or Final Reckoning. And so Esther got warned not to do that, not to throw drinks on people, not to be childish. And then TJ just told Josh, he's like, you're just an embarrassment. Like, you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing us. Like, get it together. And, like, I don't think I've ever seen TJ just, like, hit someone, like, on that level. Like, he's like, you're, like, this is not good to watch. Like, you're going to be embarrassed when you see this.
Like, we've seen and heard TJ call people out for things. Like, who was it that he talked to that didn't well? And it was, what was the season we just recapped?
You threw me off now. Rivals 2,
where Anastasia was like having a panic attack in the middle of that elimination. But after she was medically DQ'd or whatever and left, TJ was like, maybe you shouldn't smoke cigarettes all day and not eat.
But that wasn't to her face.
But he said it about her to the rest of the house.
But I mean, that is true. If you're going to be in a physical competition, you got to eat and not just be smoking all day long. So Josh is embarrassing. And then Fessy, he's like, you can't put your hands on someone, like, you're out of here. Mm-hmm. And that's what I thought was going to happen. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all kind of agreed on that last week.
The only one we weren't sure about was Esther.
I
didn't. I mean, it was pretty 50-50 on whether she would be sent home because of how serious TJ was with his warning to Huey and
but
Corey 12
she didn't technically put her hands on anybody.
No, she didn't. And that was why I was like, I don't know which way he's going to lean. But I mean, TJ called out Esther pretty bad too. He was like, you're a rookie and you don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty big wake up call to all the other rookies in the house too.
And like she had done that like tantrum yell that we talked about last week.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I blocked it out of my memory.
It's just like it wasn't a good look for her all around. But and that again, we only saw part of what happened.
Yeah. These people are supposed to be adults. Act like it.
But also, like, yes, but at the same time, it's like if they all acted like perfectly civil adults, it wouldn't be a fun show.
As much fun to watch. Yeah. I get that.
So TJ tells them that they have 15 minutes for Fessy to pack up and leave, and then they have like 15 minutes to make their decision. And if they don't make it, then he's deciding the elimination for them. Like they've got to get it done in that time frame.
Wow.
And I would assume that means he was going to put Esther in, and maybe, but there's not a guy's elimination because Fessy went home. But just because Esther had gotten in trouble.
Yeah. Plus, her partner's gone home, so like it just makes sense.
I mean, for his sake, Fessy owned up to. He's like, I knew the rules and I broke them, and I gotta go now.
I wondered at the beginning of this season if Fessy watched last season and saw kind of the villain turn that he started taking. To which I don't know if it really aired before they had to leave for filming the next one. Know. I just wonder if he's going to see this and see, how he still was going after Amber when she was trying to be in their alliance so bad. Like, I don't know.
It's just funny in retrospect that he started this whole thing and now he got sent home because he couldn't control himself.
Yeah.
Like this blow up tonight would not have happened if he didn't turn on Amber 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Because that's what started the rift between him and Josh and Casey and Josh and all that. And then the house saw it. They fed on it. Tori and Corey.
Why would they not?
Yeah. And that decision led to Fessy going home.
Fessy was the catalyst to his own demise.
100%.
And I mean, it's only good news for every other person in the house.
Well, I did tell you, I was like, I think Josh is going to take this harder than Fessy does.
Well, as soon as TJ announced that Fessy was going home, Josh started crying and started apologizing to Fessy.
Yeah, and I don't remember. It may have been TJ, but it was somebody that's like, he's not dead. He's leaving. Like, it's a game. And
like, he did. He cried. Like, he was so upset. And I think Josh feels responsible. Like, had he not gotten so upset and lost some of that control over his emotions, Fessy may not have felt the need to push him away.
Yeah, they both are at fault for sure. And I honestly, just from what we've seen of Josh, I feel like in that moment, like, that wasn't like him playing up how he felt for the camera. Like, I really think he was feeling the weight of all of that.
I don't think Josh puts anything on for camera.
I think maybe he does sometimes, but I think
his emotions wise, I don't think that he does. I think it's all genuine. He takes it to heart,
but it just swings so far. And
it does. But here's kind of like the black and white comparison between.
That's your favorite Michael Jackson song.
It is a good song. Comparison between Fessy and Josh. If you look at it, they either work really well together or they work horribly together, as we've seen this season, because I think Josh is very in tune with his emotions. He's not afraid to cry if he's upset about something.
I don't think that's a choice, though.
If he's angry, it has a lot to do with your upbringing too, because Fessy, he even said he doesn't know how to show emotion, and so people think that he just doesn't have any emotion.
Yeah.
So I think for Josh, him like letting it all out and crying is kind of freeing for him, so that once he's done, he can take a breath and move on from this. Whereas Fessy, he said he doesn't know how to show his emotions, and he's got to be absolutely devastated at this situation.
Yeah. I mean,
he
caused it.
He caused it, but also he came so close to winning last season. He got to the final, and this season, I think he really thought that he would make it because of how close he got last season.
Yeah. And
now he's going home early, so that chance is completely ripped out of his hands by himself.
I can guarantee you, though, he still blames Amber B. Like, even if he won't say it, he'll say, "Oh, it's her fault for the way she." From everything we've seen,
it's her fault for getting upset about the pizza.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's not her fault. It's Corey and Tori who said it was Fessy. I really think that's the only reason she got that upset.
And from everyone else in that room, so that's just the four people who fought the most that night. Not Tori, but Amber, Esther, Josh, and Fessy. Amber was the least out of control out of any of them.
Yeah.
She was the most, like, in her element as far as, like, not lashing out, not fighting, not throwing drinks. Like, the rest of them were way beyond her as far as being out of control. Mm-hmm. And so, if anything, she handled herself better than all three of them.
She didn't have to have security guards hold her back.
Yeah. Now, Josh did step in between her, but she wasn't going to do anything.
No.
Amber doesn't come off to me as the type of person who would fight. So, I mean, she may. I don't know her that well. But, like, I don't feel like you'd have to worry about her, like, trying to, like, grab someone, like, punch them or push them or something like that. To me, I feel like she, if anything, she would honestly probably, like, get upset and cry about something, but not lash out.
Yeah. Well, she did get upset in the middle of that fight because, like, she had gone outside and Ed and I think Priscilla were kind of comforting her, and then we get a cut from Berna, and she's like, she's just doing it for attention. I'm like, what in the heck?
Well, but that could technically be about the whole medic thing that we didn't see.
Yeah, it could be.
And sure, that's your opinion. Berna was there, we weren't. I don't know, but. by the way, we got a lot of confessionals from Priscilla this episode.
Yeah.
More than any other episode, probably combined. And so that makes me wonder if that's setting up for something for next week with her, because we haven't seen anything
I know,
from her.
you said that, but I really hope it's not. I'm hoping that maybe since more people have gone home, we can get more confessionals from other people we haven't seen as much, who have been kind of in the background.
Still not much from Bettina.
No, but like I want to see more from Priscilla. I think she's absolutely gorgeous. I do think she's really pretty. Is so pretty. My gosh. But I want to get to know her better. I want to know more of her personality, her sense of humor. So I'm hoping that she got more confessionals this episode, just because there's a smaller pool of people to choose from.
Yes, but also I don't think Logan spoke the entire episode.
No, I noticed that.
There was not very much from Kyle. There wasn't very much from Big T this episode. Not very much from Nany or Ashley this episode.
The only thing we really got from Devin was the hot sauce when he asked Emmy if she wanted to join their alliance.
Yeah, and so, I mean, again, it was just they really beefed up Priscilla.
Not a lot from Huey either.
No. So we get into the nominations. Oh, sorry, actually, before the nominations, someone actually does go to Devin and some other people and talk about throwing Josh into elimination because of putting him as the nomination, and they bring up the point where well, Fessy's already going home, that's not going to do anything to Josh, he's not going to go against anyone. That's only hurting his partner, who was right there, which is Ashley.
Yeah.
So Ashley would have had to go in against someone, and Ashley had nothing to do with this. And so they're that's really short-sighted. So they go into the nominations. Tori apologized to Amber and Josh, and to me, I was this feels like a game move.
Oh yeah,
I was
absolutely.
This feels let me show the whole room that I wasn't trying to instigate anything. I'm sorry,
because she opened up.
I know, it's what can I do to maybe not go in
and apologize to the house? And as soon as she was done, Corey popped up and did the exact same thing.
I do feel like that was more of a game, saving face type.
And here's what got me after this.
From both of them.
After this, the nominations, I'm just skipping for a second. In reference to the apologies, Berna goes to Casey, because Casey's one of the power partners who gets to choose who's going against the person nominated.
Yeah.
Berna goes to Casey and tells her how upset she still is with Amber, because Amber never apologized to the house for starting the fight and wants her to go into elimination, but for not apologizing.
That's again, Berna's a Disney villain. She's an evil old stepmother.
It reminds me of either the Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty.
I haven't watched that.
Or the stepmom from Snow White.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
She was the one that was very pretty.
That may be what I'm thinking of.
And she had the mirror, and the mirror said that she was not the fairest that Snow White was, that was why she tried to poison Snow White.
But that was a witch, wasn't it?
It
was a witch with an apple.
She either did it transformed herself. She may have been a witch, or if she wasn't a witch, she hired a witch.
I don't remember, but
she wanted to be the prettiest woman of all. But while her stepdaughter was around, she couldn't be.
You know, it's not mirror, mirror on the wall. It's magic mirror on the wall.
I know.
It's one of those things that everyone just.
That's a Mandela effect.
Yeah, and which I haven't. I saw that movie. I probably saw that movie in preschool, or a daycare, and because they would just put random Disney movies on. I don't know if I've seen a lot of those Disney movies since that era of my life. Yeah, I specifically remember watching Robin Hood on VHS at preschool one time.
Oh, I watched that all the time. I went through a lot of those classic Disney movies actually when I was in college. I ran through 4 or 5 in one night one time, and then I did it again the next night. So a lot of those are fresh in my memory. But I do remember that. And then the Berenstain Bears versus Berenstein Bears.
And I had all those books, and I always thought it was Berenstain Bears.
It's Berenstein Bears. Somebody time traveled and jacked it up. And then you know when you time travel, if you change anything as far as moving a chair an inch, it can change all of history. And I think somebody, that's the Mandela effect. Someone has time traveled and accidentally changed something or said something different to somebody than they were supposed to, and it changes things in the future. And it's supposed to be Berenstein Bears, but somebody changed something, and now it's Berenstain Bears, and I don't accept it.
Can you imagine though if like you did have, and that's how you can like disprove that time travel has ever happened, because if it would have happened, we all would have known about it by now, because someone would have already came back in time, unless you believe in the all the multiple universes and split all that type of stuff.
Yes.
But,
yes, there are. Yes.
But so you believe that there's other versions of you living in alternate dimensions?
Absolutely. There has to be multiple universes. There's no way there's not multiple timelines just existing at the same time.
So
there's no way.
So if that's the case, if someone did have the ability to time travel and they only did like innocuous little things where it was like, I'm going to change a couple letters in this children's book from the 40s.
No, that's not what they're doing in time travel.
I'm talking about my premise. If they had the, I'm not saying that's what you were saying. If they had the ability to time travel, but that's how they used it, instead of like, everyone's always like, oh, you go kill Hitler or whatever. But it's like, no, it's like, I'm just going to change a couple little words and make it to where everyone loses their mind.
No, that's not what happened.
No, that's not what you were saying.
Stop doing the fingers. No, it's like take Back to the Future.
I understand your premise. I'm not arguing that. You go back in
time, and instead of when you're supposed to say, hey, Jill, what's up? You say, hey, Jill, how are the kids? That can change things. And it's like, it's not going back in time and saying, you know what, I don't like the spelling of this, I'm going to change it. They go back in time to study things and look at what caused the domino effect that led us to where we are in present day.
Listen, I've seen all the Back to the Future movies.
Where they've
I know
accidentally
what you're
put
about.
on the wrong sweater or bought the wrong shoes at a different store. It just affects things.
To be fair, in those movies, they were way more like consequential thing. Like they gave Biff like an almanac that told all of the sports outcomes for like the next 50 years.
Yeah, that's why you can't do that.
Yeah, and
when you time travel, you can't change anything.
Yeah, or it went from Dual Pines Mall to Lone Pine Mall or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So time travelers, when you go back in time, you can't change things. You can only go and view and observe.
I mean, that's Doc Brown's whole warning to him: is you got to. Again, that's why we don't need to.
This is a conspiracy theory podcast now.
No, it's not, because conspiracy theories used to be fun, and then people like QAnon ruined them for everyone.
I know, but I pretend that QAnon does not exist. Fun conspiracy theories about aliens and the Illuminati.
No, you can't even claim the Illuminati anymore, because that's a whole thing with QAnon and all that.
I don't know about that.
Anyway, nominations. It's just Esther and Fessy. That's just what it is. I think that's what we all expected. Amy wants to go in, but she doesn't want a puzzle. That's what she's scared of. And that's when Burner goes to Casey to talk to her about that. And then this is where we get the first inkling that CT doesn't want to be partnered with Burner anymore, because he said she's being really reckless. She's going around whispering to a lot of people in the house, trying to make moves. And he's like, that really affects me, because we're partnered.
Exactly.
And
you guys are tied, so what one of you does, consequences hit both of you, whether the other person was involved or not.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that CT went to Tori.
I didn't even remember who
that was who he was talking with. He said that he wanted to get rid of Burna.
I mean, I don't think Tori is a person that would go after CT. Like, I just don't see a reason why she would. So, like, there'd be no reason to like betray him in that moment, especially for rookies. But we get into the elimination. They pick Amy. We kind of knew that was coming. Emmanuel said he wanted to give her shot, even though they're really close friends, because he wants to. She knows she doesn't need to be in a rookie partnership.
Amy wants a new partner, and Emmanuel is in a place where he can help.
And they're really close, and we kind of glossed over that they had some times together where they were talking. But it's called Rage Cage. It's basically Hall Brawl, but you have a bell at the end that you kind of have to climb a little bit to get up to, instead of just running straight through it.
It's not just normal Hall Brawl, which I like the spicing it up.
It's okay. I mean, it's better.
Just something different.
It is. It's better than it just being straight Hall Brawl, but they they're wearing motorcycle helmets essentially with like the flip down visors, like the clear visors over the eyes, and GoPros. And when they hit each other on that first collision, I think it's best 2 out of 3. Those GoPros go flying. Like they come off immediately. And Amy wins round 1, pretty lopsided. Like she's dragged Esther all the way to her end.
Yeah,
and so even if Esther just lets go and runs, there's no way. And so then they show them in round 2, and I was like, oh, they took their visors off. Because I was like, they were fogging up, like just from weather stuff. And then they keep cutting back to other clips where the visors are back. And then GoPros are back. And then it keeps cutting back and forth. Visor, no visor. GoPro, no GoPro. And then they show them running in. And then they have GoPros and visors on. And then they show them collide. And there's no. And then it's back. And I was like, just show the round. Like, stop cutting in and out from round 1 to round 2 and like splicing the footage together. Because there's 2 clear indicators that this is not footage from this round. And
you are such a production analyst.
There's 2.
It's your job. That's what your brain has to look at.
There's 2 missing. They have huge visors that are gone, and they have GoPros that are gone. And then all of a sudden, they're just back because I guess the hit was better on round 1. And so,
I want to see both the hits.
I know exactly. That's my point. Is just show it. And so, They go and they kind of run past each other, and this time they don't fight nearly as long. And Esther runs and jumps, and she misses her bell. She's not very tall, but she misses her bell by like a centimeter.
Yeah, like
it's
her
close.
Finger could have grazed the
She
pole.
didn't climb at all. She just tried to jump. And
she's not tall enough to do that.
And then it showed Amy climb just a little bit and hit it. But I mean, Esther probably would have won that round from what we saw.
If she had just grabbed the fence and pulled herself up,
yeah.
just as she was jumping.
Yeah, she's not Laurel. You gotta climb the fence on that. That's the whole point of it. So
Laurel doesn't climb fences.
Laurel had her own climbing things against Ninja a couple seasons ago.
She did.
But
I forgot about that. That I didn't even think about it when I made that reference.
This is where Amy comes out of the elimination, gets on her knees, screams to everyone, "This is for my mama, for my grandma, and for Romania." And it
cries into the sand.
Yeah, and I was like, man, this is not as high stakes as what she's making it, but
it's I think for her it is.
I like Amy.
The more I see her, the more I like her. I think she's so cute and she's so funny and just a little weird, and I like it. Yeah. She's fun.
And this is where Amber, what you mentioned earlier, says like, well done, whatever. And, like, not being condescending, like legitimately, it's like, good job. And then that's when Esther flips out, and like it's with the two girls from Big Brother Nigeria. After they lose, they just go after somebody in the house because Tatcha did that to Tori.
Oh, it was Tori that she went after. I was trying to think. It wasn't Amber.
And then Esther did it to Amber. I just think that's kind of funny.
Yeah, like Esther just kind of lost it on her, and she's like, "Don't you dare talk to me." And I was like, the whole time I'm thinking, I thought they hugged it out and were fine.
It didn't, and like Amber's comment didn't seem sarcastic or anything.
No, it seemed like she was genuinely serious because even Emmy yelled out, she's like, this is a tough competitor.
Yeah.
And then Esther said in her confessional that she holds grudges.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't understand. What grudge are you holding?
I wonder if that's more of like, oh, if I need a rival person so they'll cast me again to come back.
Do you think they're thinking that far ahead?
Maybe. I mean, again, those girls from Big Brother Nigeria, they have big followings. Have
they watched the challenge before?
Now that I don't know.
Because that's the thing. There's some rookies that come on the show that have never seen the show before.
Yeah,
they just see, MTV is doing another show and I got cast.
Yeah, and that goes back to the article that Paul from our Patreon wrote about, like, a lot of these people don't even know like what the show is when they're coming into it.
They don't know what they're coming to do.
So after that, CT asks Emmy who he wants, and Emmy goes, his name is Uncle CT. Yeah, which
I love Emmy.
Yeah, I think we all knew that was coming. CT was pumped for it.
He had to pretend to be shocked.
Yeah, because that backfired on him last season because he can't be excited to go to a new partner apparently. because otherwise people like Big T and all our fans will make a big deal about it. I got to harness Jake's energy a little bit for this episode.
He's not here to do it.
Yeah.
For himself.
So that's Berna is with Hughie now, which is another rookie pair.
This is like her villain origin story.
Yeah.
She loses the ultimate challenge partner and is paired with the worst one.
Yeah, literally like
at least Hughie,
the guy who won last season.
Yeah. At least Hughie has pleasantly surprised us and himself in some
funny.
of the dailies.
He's
funny.
I will say he's been getting a lot of backlash on some comments from the last few years, and again, he did say some things that are like, I don't know if it's a cultural thing or it seems like he should be smarter than that, but he was using like hard R's with the N-word, but he was saying, I don't understand why Black people can say that to each other, and it was just like, this is not an argument you need to be making.
No,
like just leave it alone.
No.
And
not your place to ask.
No, and he's had some other things that have come up, and so a lot of people, again, we talked about in the Slack group, they think he won't be back after this season.
Well, he kind of came out of nowhere. He hadn't been on TV in years.
Yeah, we have a guy in the Slack group from the UK that knows all of these people, and he's like, he was on Big Brother in 2016, and no one's heard from him since.
Yeah,
and
it's 2021.
He's like, it was really surprising when he was the pick to be on this show. And I don't know. It's just Hughie. From what we've seen, he's entertaining. I can't comment on the things from the past because I don't have enough context on it. It's never a good idea to type out specifically that one thing that I talked about. If you're just a white guy, even if you're in the UK,
yeah, just leave it.
It's not your argument. It's not your place.
If you wonder, just wonder to yourself as you lie awake in bed at night.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of this episode. I don't think Jake sent us his superlatives.
He did not. I checked.
Okay. Well,
so tune in next week to see the culmination of Berna's origin Disney villain story.
So are we not going to do our superlatives this week either?
No, I have mine.
Well, I just didn't know if you wanted to wait and just do them at the beginning of next week's episode when Jake's here, and I'll do them all together.
I got mine.
Okay.
Because I have my pop culture people planned for every week, and I've got one that I'm holding on to for a good week.
Okay. Well,
maybe finale.
Then who smashed some heads?
Berna herself, because one, she is holding on to something that we either haven't seen or doesn't exist. Really seems just like seems very bitter this episode, but also she approached Emmy, asked her not to take CT. Emmy took CT anyway, and now she's angry about it and tried to tell the whole house that Emmy swore up and down and whatever. She's calling Emmy fake and said that she's a liar or whatever.
I was going to say Josh for obvious reasons, but I think I am going to say Emmy, not because she won the elimination, but because she took CT from Berna.
Yeah.
And so that's mine. Who got their head smashed?
Amber, because apparently everybody still hates her guts.
Yeah, I still don't get that. I'll give it to, I think it's got to be Fessy. Like, he started all of this.
He smashed his own head.
Yeah, he did all of it. Going back to 2-3 weeks ago, whenever he started going after Amber, like, this is unnecessary. It started a chain reaction, and it's the ultimate like story of like hubris to where now he's gone. Yep. And so that's mine. So just what's your pop culture for the week?
My pop culture person is George Foreman.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a boxer back in the day, and now he has grills, and they're in everybody's house. Everybody has a George Foreman.
I never owned a George Foreman.
Well, we have one.
I know, but we never use it. Yeah,
I know. But everybody has one. Everybody has a George Foreman grill.
Well, that was an unexpected turn.
I like to keep you on your toes.
Sure. So I didn't really have one, but just for reference sake, I'm going to recommend a YouTuber named William Osman because I like William Osman is just kind of like chaotic, but it's just like a science channel.
But it's like dumb smart. kind of.
Yeah, he's really smart, but he's strange.
Kind of dumb.
Yeah.
In a way. And it just, I think it's kind of put on for like entertainment sake.
I don't know. I think that's just how he is. Anyway, again,
he's
it's
really reckless.
William Osman, and it's just like two weeks ago he made his own X-ray machine because he had to go to the hospital, and they charged him $70,000 before insurance for all that stuff. So he's like, I'm just gonna make my own. And then he made a video today about how everyone was really upset about how he made his own X-ray machine, and so
radiation.
Yeah, again, he's just really funny. So I'll give it to him because he does something that a lot of YouTubers just don't do. He's not just like sitting there talking about stuff or whatever. Like he's doing really crazy stuff.
Mechanical engineer.
Yeah. He's very smart. He's got 2 degrees.
He makes stuff with his hands that are just wild and unnecessary, and it's fun to watch.
He one time turned 2 Roombas into a bicycle to where he had them as the wheels of the bike. And he just does stuff like that. So check that out. And then I guess now it's time to do the all the fantasy stuff. And Hannah's going to have to read Jake's messages while I keep track of everything.
That's right. I have all of the fantasy points. So just to start it off, we would like to thank our sponsor for this fantasy segment. It's Skechers. Go running. All right, started off. We have a quote from Josh. You're not going to see a final again. You're going home. Josh, sing along. 15 points to Josh.
All right.
5 points to Amber B for standing up for herself. 5 points to Esther for apologizing for throwing the drink. We got an Amber Esther makeup session, 10 points each. Houseboat, Fessy and Esther, ? -5.
To them.
I guess so.
Well, he didn't specify, so that's where it's going.
Yep. Casey doesn't agree with fighting, -5, because without a fight, what are we watching? These are my real life friends, all caps. Josh, 10 points. We've got 10 points for Quesadilla Huey. Another 5.
I don't remember that.
I do. Huey was in the background eating a quesadilla, watching everybody scream at each other. So 5 points to Huey again because he just wants people to keep fighting. Don't we all? 5 points to Ed because he thinks this is all really funny. Berna still being weird about Amber, -5. Ed has a love for Amber, 5 points to Amber.
Oh. Okay.
Corey thinks Josh has bigger problems than pizza. -5 to Josh. You'd hate to have bigger problems than pizza. Oh my God, everyone is so sad. -10 points to Josh.
Oh my gosh.
To Fessy.
He's gonna do
to
all this.
Nani. To Casey.
Nani was crying without saying anything.
Yeah. So -10 to Fessy, Josh, Nani, and Casey.
Where is Casey? Oh, I have all of them except for Josh.
All right. CT is Emmy's dream partner of all time. 10 points to CT. Berna is not Emmy's friend. -5 to Berna. I would hate to not be her friend.
Are you adding these secondary parts, or this is what Jake says?
No,
okay.
I'm adding some of these.
You're capturing his timing on it.
I am.
That's what I'm wondering.
I'm emulating.
I haven't read his notes.
I'm emulating Jake. Hot sauce signature by Emmy. 10 points to Emmy. This is in all caps. Fessy admitted his pride got in the way. 20 points.
There we go.
We reward self-acknowledgement to your own shortcomings. We have a Josh and Fessy makeup session, 10 points to each. Fessy has never won, all caps, anything. -10, because it sucks to be a sore loser. CT has a spooky feeling, -5. It is officially fall, so welcome to spooky season.
Not when they film this.
No, but when we're watching it, so welcome to spooky season. We have a considerate Huey, 5 points. I don't know what he was considerate about. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Bettina would rather be in a funeral right now. 5 points to Bettina.
That was her only.
I know. I totally forgot she was in this episode. TJ thinks that Josh and Fessy are unacceptable. -10 to both. Also, Esther. -10 to Esther. Josh is also embarrassing.
Yeah.
-10. But Josh and Esther get to stay in the house. 15 to both.
What?
That sounds like a lot. I would do 5.
That's insane that they both get 15 for not getting kicked off. Also, they're both on Jake's team.
I don't think he thinks about that, but I do think that 15 is a lot for staying. He's not here to argue with us, though.
I'm going to
put
plead
his case.
You'll have to remember to help me bring that up next week.
Okay, if we need to take off points.
Yeah, because that's crazy.
I think
Why are they getting rewarded for not getting kicked off?
Yeah, for almost getting kicked off, but not.
They got negative 10 each for being in, like an embarrassment.
In trouble.
So they got a net gain of 5 points for staying on the show.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Make a note.
We might have a stat correction next week.
We might. Fessy is deactivated.
Yeah.
Negative 30 points.
Negative 30. I don't know if that's okay. It's fine.
I'll go with it. He just has JD. It doesn't say anything. Josh is incredibly distraught. Negative 10.
Probably JD in our Slack group said something that he was going to reference, and then he didn't.
Oh.
So Josh
is incredibly distraught. Negative 10 points. Oh God, Esther 2. Negative 10.
You know what? I'm going to put an asterisk by these 15s so I don't forget. You say Esther 2?
Oh God, Esther 2. Negative 10.
Yeah.
And Fessy. Negative 10. Casey thinks this is all because of pizza. Negative 15. That's correct, because it's not just about pizza.
I'm fine with that one.
I know. I just wanted to reiterate that. Tori and Corey apology tour. 5 points to each. All caps compromised. Esther. Negative 25. Emmy might risk her skin. Negative 5. CT don't want Berna no more. Negative 10 to Berna.
Okay.
We get Jeremiah and Amber smooching it up. 10 points
I forgot
each.
He was in this episode.
I did too. Oh, we get an Emmanuel Spider-Man quote. 5 points.
We talked about that.
Except he did not say it exactly.
It was close though.
It's supposed to be with great power comes great responsibility, but I think Emmanuel...
He took out great.
He's self-aware and he realizes this is not great power. It's just power for a week. So it's with power comes responsibility.
Listen,
tone it down a little bit.
He's Romanian.
He's right.
Yeah.
No, I think he had it accurately correct. Voted in Emmy, negative 25. Emmy is ready to risk it all with her skin. Again, 10 points. We get Emmy calling TJ Mr. TJ again. It's our favorite thing in the world. 5 points. Emmy has been on a chopping block since she was born. Negative 10. Per Berna, God loves Emmy. 10 points to... It says 10 points to both? 10 points to God and 10 points to Emmy?
I guess Berna.
Emmy is fighting for a list of people. 5 points. Esther is an anaconda. 10 points to Esther. Nani explains the elimination. She pulls a Casey. She is dating Casey, so I could see where it rub off. Negative 15 to Nani. Emmy wins the elimination. 75 points. Esther loses. Negative 50. Nelson is proud of Esther. 5 points to Esther. Ashley has happy tears. 5 points to Ashley. All caps. This is for my. He said father. It's mother.
It was mother.
This is for my correction. Mother. 10 points to Emmy. For her grandma. 10 points. And Emmy loves the challenge.
He left out Romania.
He did. Add her another 10 points for Romania.
I'm going to asterisk that too.
We love Romania. Emmy loves the challenge. 10 points. Esther wants a pound of Amber's flesh. Negative 10 to Amber. Esther doesn't forget wrongs. Negative 5 to Esther.
Hold on a second. How many for Amber? Just a minute.
Negative 10 for Amber. Esther doesn't forget wrongs. Negative 5. CT is infiltrated. 5 points to CT.
Esther got a negative 5 for not forgetting.
Yeah, she holds grudges, and that does nothing but eat yourself alive.
And the CT what?
CT gets 5 points for being infiltrated. Berna is mad. Negative 5 to Berna.
You only get 5 for being infiltrated? Is that right?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember.
So what's after CT?
Berna is mad about it. Negative 5 to Berna. Berna feels paralyzed. Negative 10. We have a Berna, Emmy, Spat, 10 points to each. And last but not least, there's only so much Nelson can do. -5 to Nelson. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your fantasy points segment brought to you by Skechers. Go running. Give us just a moment, and Zach is going to tally up our points for the week. And we're back with our fantasy segment. We got to know where we stand for the week. So, once again, we want to thank our sponsor, Skechers. Go running.
So we will have possibly some stat corrections after next week because I have 3 asterisks that we need to get some clarity on. But as it stands right now, I'm going to go through the scoring. CT got 10, Amanda 0, Ed 5, Berna -15, Jeremiah 10, Josh 5 asterisk there because we'll see afterwards. Emmanuel 5, Emmy with 125, wow. Huey 20, Big T 0, and then Esther with -60. Fessy ended up with -45, Nelson -5, Ashley 5, Kel's eliminated, Tommy DQ'd, Nani -25, Gabo eliminated, Michaela eliminated, Michelle eliminated, Casey with -30, Bettina with 5, and then Amber B with 20. And then Hannah's team is sad this week. Kyle 0, Devin 0, Corey 5, Anissa DQ'd, Logan 0, Tori 5, Renan, Tatcha, Tracy all eliminated, Priscilla 0, Corey 12 eliminated.
I got 10 points
She
for the
got
week.
10 total points, 5 from Corey and 5 from Tori.
For the entire week.
And those were only for their apologies.
Yeah.
And that's it. So you went from 415 to a total 425. Yeah.
I can do that math.
I got -75 for the week because I had Fessy, Casey, and Nani. And
sucks to suck, don't it?
So they really like weighed me down a significant amount. And so I went from 680 to 605. And then Jake ended up with 105 for the week because Emmy won the elimination. And so he went from 1505 to 1610, and again, this game has gotten insanely out of hand. Going forward, I don't know how the final is going to weigh in, because that's the only way Jake might be taken down. Because at this point, there's such a commanding lead because he's still. Esther was his first person to go home.
Yep.
That's it. And we're 7 weeks into this, so I got to make her a note on here. And I mean, that's just he's got 9 people. I mean, you had the 4 or 5 people that got 0 points this week, and they're still on the show.
Yeah, I know. And like the thing is, 3-4 of them are big name people, like front runners.
They just hyper focused on a lot of these people this week. And then Priscilla, he gave her no points.
I know. He should have given her at least 10 points for how pretty she looked.
Well, I don't think that's a good standard to make, because then he can be extremely biased towards certain people. You're too ugly. 0 points this week.
Okay, well, her confessional, she had a good hair day, and it's just a good look. And
no, I think she's really pretty. I think she's maybe one of the prettiest people on the cast. But I
can't believe I didn't get points for that.
Anyway, we'll be back with you next week. Everyone will be here. It's just this is one of the weird weeks where he had to be out of town and we couldn't record, and it just became a thing, and it's just whatever. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on right now for all of us personally. So we'll be back with you next week, hopefully Wednesday night. And like I said at the top of the show, patreon.com/SmashingHeadsPodcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Smashing Heads on Twitter, at Smashing Heads Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And then from there, we do have merch dropping soon. I got to just redesign our store, but it's gonna be it's gonna be a little bit just because I have a lot of other big deadlines coming up. But it is coming. The designs are done. It's just we gotta revamp everything. And then rate and review on iTunes, please. It does help people find the show and weed out any people who have weird opinions on us for their own various reasons, which you're entitled to. But
it's kind of funny if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, bad reviews don't bother me. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just like, I never have been at a place where I'm like, you know what? I want people to know how I feel about this thing. I've never once heard a podcast, and I've heard some bad podcasts or YouTube channels or whatever, and been like, I need to let people know about this. So anyway, it does help. So go on there if you can do that, and from there, we'll see you guys later. I
was yawning. Have a great night, everyone.
That is not the same.
I know, I had to change it.
Bye.